gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back with another Wednesday episode of the Bold Sports Show, Bold Protection Sports Media Podcast. And as tradition, that's Mr. KC you see over to the yonder. I'm that dude with the beard. Hey, excuse me. Free agency is underway in the NFL and in a big way. A lot of moves happening, a lot of pieces moving around here, some shocking things, and some things that are not so shocking. So, without further ado, let's just kind of dive into it. What's going on, Mr. Casey?
Well, we got a wild free agency going on. We're starting to see that first round be completed. So we got the kind of bargain bin players left, but we can really talk about what moves have been made currently by teams and what we think is going to happen in this second half of free agency and really going into this draft because I think we're going to see a few draft moves this year.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of teams that are trying to make moves to get into viable situations to make moves for the future. Um, like I said, we've seen some bewildering moves, and let's just go ahead and dive on into it. We were just talking about it. Chicago, the Chicago Bears, the Chicago Bears. I don't know because this was a team we believed in, and mainly because of who they had at quarterback. And now it's like the whole belief system. I think the whole momentum and energy, everything Chicago had, is kind of just sucked out the building right now. I think the fans have been letting it be known that they're not happy with the situation and trading who they knew were their franchise quarterback to bank on a guy who already said he didn't even want to play in Chicago. So I mean, like
Right.
we're gonna see how that works, dude. I really don't get it, but um, they you almost would say they fleeced themselves. Like I mean, uh, then
I
you
mean,
trade
when
them to
you
Pittsburgh.
when you trade to Pittsburgh for a sixth round, possibly a fourth, you
Man,
might get a fourth round out of it. That is highly possible. And I believe we're both leaning towards that being a very strong possibility. It is based on how much playtime Justin Fields gets. But regardless, I throw that completely out the window because even if we bump it up to a fourth,
right?
are you serious right now? You really thought this was the move to bump it up to make it competitive, and it's crazy.
It's
It's it's,
almost
it's crazy to think about.
it's beyond insane. Harrison Smith staying with the Vikings.
Yeah, and the Vikings are a very interesting team this year. We really need to spend a couple. I know we'll probably come back to Justin Fields here in a moment because we get sidetracked easy. But we do need to talk about these Minnesota Vikings because they are out here making moves. They got two first round draft picks, number 11, number 23, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
And that's a lot of ammo. They could be moving up to get a quarterback. They could be staying put. In
it's
this situation, it's tough.
because I don't know who you move up to get at this
And,
point.
and that's my biggest problem because the easiest spot for them to move up to is going to
Oh,
obviously. Oh,
we
sorry.
lost you for a second.
Yeah, I was saying the easiest spot for them to move up to is number 5 for the Chargers. Any higher than that, every team there needs a quarterback. Maybe Arizona, but I just don't see Arizona trading out of Marvin Harrison.
No, because I well, yeah, I don't either. Because yeah, they got the second pick, don't they? You said Seattle, or I'm sorry, did you say Seattle? Who got the second pick? I need to look at these draft picks real quick. Because my only thought is a lot of these teams are in desperate need of wide receiver, and you got a lot of playmakers going number one. Well, not number one, but especially in the top five, maybe. Uh, Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah, I don't know what your future will be, man. I don't think he's gonna fall to five at this point, and I don't know who else would they try to move up to get as far as quarterback. Because my only thing is, who's at this point? Justin Jefferson's on the watch block, I guess, as far as trade rumors and stuff like that, because he wants some money. And my thing is, dude, you might need to reload again at receiver already before before you even get another quarterback. Because you let go of Kirk Thuggins, you're moving on from him, and I just don't know who else you bring in to fill that void. I mean, yeah, I'm just not sure. I'm not sure at all.
Yeah, it definitely raises some questions. I mean, I don't see the answer at quarterback for them, especially since if you're going to throw a dart, you can throw it late on Penix Jr. If we look back at the 2021 draft, for example, if you look at that, the only person starting this season from that draft class is the
And
Prince that's
17.
promised. Yeah,
Right.
Trevor Lawrence. You know,
Mhm.
Justin Fields technically isn't starting right now. Like the whole draft class is it's down to one guy already. 3 years in.
Man, yeah, and that's crazy because, like I said, just even looking at the draft order, I don't know if Minnesota even has enough to move up to where another one of these teams are comfortable moving back. I mean, like
Yeah,
you'd have to try to get you would have to package what you got and only be able to move maybe up two spots if the Bears want to get rid of that ninth pick, and that's only it.
and that's
And they
yeah,
need
and
they
I
need
think
everything they can get.
I think they could get to number 5 with the Chargers. The Chargers are a strong trade back candidate because they have tons and tons of holes, and they don't need a quarterback, so they're not in that quarterback race. And Harrison's going to be gone before number 5 anyway. Like we're both in agreement on that. If you're not taking a quarterback, you're absolutely taking him. And Arizona's in that prime. Like that's your only other spot. And to move up to number 3 to get to Arizona, it'd be the two first this year, the first next year, and probably something else. Like if we're going to be
At
honest,
least
you
a
probably have to
fourth
throw in a
rounder.
third. Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to sweeten the pot a little more. Like get it, all the way up to 3, and even
Well,
then,
yeah,
but
New England ain't getting rid of that pick because they need something. Like I don't even know what are they gonna do at quarterback? All I can say, I
yeah,
mean, so who did they
yeah,
signed? Who Jacoby
Jacoby
Brissett was it?
Brissett.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So man, I like
and you can't
Jacoby. I remember we
believe.
talked about him, but dude, no,
No. Yeah, you
that's
can't
not
go
the
into the
dude.
season. I like Jacoby Brissett, but you can't go
Right.
into the season as this is our guy. Look, you tell me you got Jacoby Brissett as the backup. I'm solid, locked in.
I'm all for it.
I'm all for it. But if you're telling me this is supposed to be the guy to carry us the next 17 weeks, to carry us to the playoffs, to carry us past Pat Mahomes, to carry us to the promised land, there's absolutely no way in God's green earth I'm picking
God.
Jacoby Brissett to do that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, good night. Because what didn't they get rid of everybody? Got rid of Zappy. Didn't they get rid of Mac Jones or what they do with Mac Jones? I
Yeah,
swear that.
they traded Mac Jones. Mac Jones got traded for a sixth round pick, common occurrence. Apparently, Justin Fields got the same trade package as Mac Jones. Like
Boy,
the
boy.
disrespect to I guess the only thing you can give a shout out to the Chicago Bears for is I did read a report that there were other teams interested, but Justin Fields wanted to go to the Steelers. So that's where they sent him. But I mean, at a sixth round pick, you can't tell me if someone offered you a fourth, you said, I don't care what you said, Justin. Or a second. If someone said I was giving you a third, I guarantee you they would have went there instead. Yeah, you wouldn't have cared. But I'm guessing the value for Justin Fields is terrible. That is a
Man,
tough.
it just makes it seem like this dude can't play football, don't it? Like, and I'm just wondering. Anyway,
Pittsburgh should
like,
be a big improvement for him. They
oh
really
yeah,
should be.
he's probably saved the Steelers. He probably just saved the whole
Mm,
franchise.
the
But they
whole
actually got
franchise.
dudes who play football down there, and
And you
I
got to
feel
give
like,
it to him. They completely changed that quarterback room in one off season, and probably, I'm going to call it one of the best off season fleeces I've seen probably in my whole life at quarterback for a team. You picked up Russell Wilson, who's not, look, he's not great, but for $1 million,
yeah,
you can roll the dice on Russell Wilson. You're not paying him $40 million like the Broncos are for him to play on your team. You're giving
man,
him $1 million. So it's a veteran minimum. You cannot find a backup quarterback for a veteran minimum that you would name. There's
no,
no one that you can name that's worth naming that's taking $1 million. Fucking Chase Daniels was getting $6 million a year 5 years ago. You see what I'm
man,
saying? Like there's just no way you're doing that for $1 million. And then you add Justin Fields for a fourth, maybe a sixth if you conserve him and don't play him. Like it's just such a fleece. Like they got choices at quarterback. Shout out the
yeah,
Steelers. Shout out Mike Tomlin. Another season of going at least 500. Guarantee you that
easily.
much.
Yeah,
Easy
that's
there. And
crazy. That's
suddenly, possibly a competitor in that North. Bengals, Browns. Got to watch out the Ravens. And that AFC North is ferocious. That's got to be the toughest division in football after this offseason.
yeah, I would say so. Besides, oh well, yeah, I'm tied between them and the South. I really think the South is gonna be something special next season. We have saw the shades of it this year, but all of them teams, besides Jacksonville in the end, look like they could be in the playoffs and deservingly so. So, like I said, we're
It
gonna see
absolutely.
that South gonna
Yeah.
get slobber knocked.
Yeah, because I've really seen uprise for the Texans being unlikely. They're going to take another step forward. They're going to be a very competitive team, the Texans. And then you have the prince that's promised there with the Jaguars. And you know that Anthony Richardson with the Colts is a very quietly slept on team. All they
Right.
do is win. The Colts are continuously slept on and disrespected. Like we've made a video where they could be picking up Snead from the Kansas City Chiefs. They could be adding legitimate talent to that secondary to shore things up. And with a healthy Anthony Richardson, I'd like to see what this team can be. Is it a guarantee? I mean, we're talking about a hard South here. Does it guarantee they
Yeah.
make the playoffs? No. But I could see them possibly slipping past Jacksonville, maybe, like, in a number two seed in that division. Very, very possible.
Man. Did they re-sign Michael Pittman?
Let me see here. I do have my free agency tracker pulled up so we can pull up some names. While we're doing that, what I thought was wild is Derrick Henry left for the Ravens
Man.
and the Tennessee Titans signed Tony Pollard for $1 million less. You get Tony Pollard, and
Right.
I'm like, man, I think I would have just spent the money on Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry only got a 2 year deal. And they gave three to Pollard. So I just thought that was wild. They let Derrick Henry go,
Less tread on the tire.
not by much. And is the tread any better? Like just because it still could be a very low performance.
We're just gonna have to see, man. I understand though, but like you be saying, it's a business. These teams, they do what they want to do, and you know, good night. That's the best way I can put it. Because, like I said, you see the Chargers let Austin Eckler go. And I was so mad we didn't get him, but Washington has been picking up some pieces on the under. Didn't they get Curtis Samuel too? Or no,
Yeah,
they lost Curtis Samuel to the Bills. I think he signed with the Bills. He left Washington, but they've been picking up a few people. But dude, we're gonna see because their quarterback room is kind of questionable too. But at the same time, you have the second pick in the draft. So I mean, uh, are you going weapon or do you assess the quarterback situation here?
I mean, yeah, you have to. That's the problem with being in such a terrible position. You kind of have to throw darts at that quarterback position. If you don't have that figured out, you don't have an NFL team, in my opinion. This is such a quarterback driven league, and people want to deny it, but we see what elite quarterbacks do. They go to the playoffs every season. There's a reason we all know the same quarterbacks every year, like Manning and
Right.
Brady and Breeze. Like you just know Rivers, possibly. I guess he didn't really make it very often, but like there was quarterbacks that you just, and it's the same thing we're seeing now. You're going to see Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, more than likely, Jalen Hurts. There's just certain names that you're just going to see, and they're automatically a playoff team because it's a quarterback driven league. The
Right.
quarterback was healthy, they get to do it. That's just how
Right.
it works out. And you look at all these, the first thing that separates bad teams is the quarterback. That's why when you see teams like the Chargers, who you assume they have the quarterback situation figured out, and
Whew.
they still do terrible, you
Yeah.
got to question. You got to question a lot of things
Jury
because
is out on that. But like I said, at
mm,
least Washington's in a position to where they can assess it. I mean, there are still quality quarterbacks, at least at the position where they're at. Like I said, because me personally, I'm not on the Caleb Williams bandwagon, the hype and everything. Uh, Especially, I don't like a guy who don't throw at the pro day, and at the combine and everything. That always kind of bothers me. But at the same time, man, if he comes out and he just balls, then he balls. But I've seen this too many times, and I'm getting shades of almost Jamark esque kind of Russell
hmm
situation going. And yeah, I know, yeah, you can feel it too. And so, like I said, the Commanders they'll mess
hmm
around. They'll get Drake May or something like that, or Jaden Daniels. Heck, they might even try to go with the boy McCarthy. Uh, like I said, there's a couple people out there, but I don't think they would necessarily uh, be at fault if they win quarterback, especially since you trade Howell over to Seattle. So that's a whole different
yeah,
situation. Play behind young Gino.
which was I don't know if he's playing behind him. That seems like I feel like that's a I like Sam Howell. I think that might be a little
Yeah, it seems like
quarterback competition.
he's definitely gonna play behind Gino unless Gino fall off somehow. He's definitely gonna play behind because it's just learning opportunity. We talking about a dude who's thrown into the
Hmm
fire. It seems like that's what they do in most of these quarterbacks. I mean, yeah, we tossed you in the fire. Now we'll send you to a different team where you won't start. Maybe you'll learn something and play in a few years. Like you know what I
Right.
mean? So I mean, his opportunity is brighter than some of these other dudes. Uh, I don't ever see Kenny Pickett playing. I just don't see unless Jalen Hurts like has the most debilitating injury, like that's
Right.
not gonna happen. Uh, what's his name? Not gonna play. Oh, what's the dude's name? Oh my God, I was just talking about him.
Where's he at?
Who just lost your job? He's not Justin Fields, the other one. There was one more who was just on my mind. He lost his job too. He was in that same class. What's his name? Mac Jones. He ain't
Oh yeah,
starting.
Mac Jones.
Yeah,
No,
that's
he
what
ain't
I'm like.
starting.
He ain't
Yeah.
starting. Uh, dude, I almost feel like there's one more now I'm missing, but I know Mac Jones is the one I was thinking about. Like I said, you remove all these really first year stars and put them in situations where they probably won't ever even play again. I can't even see most of these people ending up being backups. Maybe Sam Howell if he can stick around. But dude, until Justin Fields get his rightful place back, that whole draft class is pretty much shot in the foot.
Yeah, because I hate to say it to Trevor Lawrence, but there's real questions there. Like I feel like that window for me thinking they're going to be successful is almost closed. You know,
Man,
they're at the point where I think Houston clearly wins the South. You
oh
know,
yeah,
it's really the South and possibly a wild card, in my opinion. You know, that's where we're seeing from them. And I have serious questions about the Jaguars. You know, we just seen Calvin Ridley leave. You know, one of their biggest target is gone. You know, you're not. He went to Tennessee, which was wild.
right.
He just said, "Give me money. I'm done with competing."
What again? 92
Like it's
million.
I'm going on. Yeah, yeah, with a 23-year average. You know, so it was pretty
Good
nice.
God Almighty.
Pretty good paycheck for him. Yeah. Another kind of surprising ones that I wanted to talk about was Josh Jacobs leaving the Raiders for Green Bay. And I think that's a nice addition for Green Bay and kind of a shocking move that the Raiders would move on from Josh Jacobs.
I'm not pretty shocked about that
But
because
then
you got to
again,
remember he tried to get out under the last regime, so he was just kind of pretty much riding
yeah,
the most, going through the motions. That relationship been severed. Um, I'm honestly glad he's up out of there. I actually like Josh Jacobs. I think he's a
yeah,
wonderful running back. We would have been lucky to have him. Uh, but yeah, he's going to do tremendous work out there in Green Bay. Green Bay, in my opinion, is already a favorite to win the NFC, and we can talk about that as the season gets closer. But
right. Yeah,
looking at the
I
looking
like to
at the,
wait till the dust settles a little bit more. You know, after the
I say,
draft
hey,
and free agencies.
they're still going to be a
It's,
favorite. They're
um,
already in the top. They're already a top four NFC team. What before the draft, before free agency finishes.
I just don't want to admit it. It's all it is.
I understand,
I
but
I want to say no, but you know, we both happen to have lived in the show me state for long enough to both know that the boy showed me. And what am I supposed to say? Grown man came and did his job like I thought he wouldn't. You know, and hey, that new hire they had waiting, he had
man,
management material written all over him. God damn.
man,
Yeah, shout him out. Like, man, I got to eat crow. I got that Jordan Love prediction terribly wrong. Like, what do you say? Man,
man.
speaking
So
of
the only
terribly
hope,
wrong,
yeah, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say you was terribly wrong. You were just you just didn't want to open the door for him yet. You were being cautious. I'll write it off as caution. And but you know me, I like to throw caution to the wind. I'm Jeff Hardy off the ladder, swan time. Like I'm
mm,
just diving in with it. That's why I said you heard me, Jordan Love.
yeah.
I'm picking him. I like him. We're doing it.
And I'm more like Sting up in the rafters going, I don't know about this one,
I
boys.
don't know about this fight. Might be a little too big. I got this back. Maybe I'll slide down there. Oh god! Shout out to Sting. But yeah, I mean, the only real hope for them, as far as we were talking about the Vikings earlier, is probably to try to trade up to five. If the Chargers don't wise up and get another wide receiver, because like I said, you pretty much lost all your weapons, so you got to do something at this point.
Yeah.
And you might as well draft you a high quality receiver at least to say the least. At least Herbert will have somebody to throw the ball to and try to build a relationship, especially if he's going to be your guy going on in the future. But
They they absolutely destroyed what was supposed to be one of the better wide receiver rooms in the league. And they just completely
blew it up. You
blew it
got to
up.
do it. I told you we knew, but we knew it was coming. We kept saying the dynamite.
Yeah.
Just toss it in the front lobby and walk away. It's time, and they heard the message. They watched the show apparently, heard the message, blew that thing up, and now like I said, you catch the pieces and fix it together. But the way that this draft is shaking out, though, and looking at all these first three teams in definite need of quarterback, unless you're the Patriots and really are comfortable with Jacoby Brissett, and you just
which
sit
they
this
could
year with
be.
Jacoby Brissett because you can get Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm all for it. You make that move, do what you got to do. And if you got to find another quarterback later, so be it. But if
Or
not,
they could be trading back and taking that, with the Vikings at 11, at 23, next year's first, and like that, fourth or fifth or whatever.
they
I
could.
might, you got a lot of holes. What a way to rebuild. But the problem with that is, and the reason it seems so desperate for quarterbacks is the rumor is next year's quarterback draft class is absolutely terrible.
I can
So
see that.
it brings
I can
a
definitely
lot
see
of
that.
desperations. I think
But my only
the
thing
problem
is,
is,
dude, there's just generational talents at wide receiver that you just kind of gotta look. I feel you though. I feel you. And next year it could be a total shit show
yeah,
as far as quarterback. But dude, because if you don't go get him, Marvin Harrison's gonna end up in Arizona with Kyler Murray.
oh yeah,
And good God
yeah.
Almighty, I hope that this man don't squander this man's career because you can just tell some people are already an all generation type talent. You know Marvin Harrison Jr.
mm.
You can see it on him. You see it in his play. His daddy's one of the greatest. Like I
They got their
goodness
next
man,
Larry Fitzgerald. That's what it is. The next Larry Fitz. Yeah, a bunch of talent wasted in the
golly,
desert. That's all
man,
it's gonna
wasted in
be.
the fucking desert. Right, send him off to the desert to die. Good night.
Man, it's
Because
sad.
who else they got at receiver? They got
Their
talking
highlight
about
was Hollywood Brown, and they done lost him.
man,
It's just I mean, we've seen it. The Cardinals have. The fans, if you want to get upset about it, look at your own Reddit for the last couple years. You guys are
man.
self-deprecating. You guys know you're trash. Like it's not an insult. Look, there's
It's
no
not,
problem. There's no problem with being from a trailer park, but you can't pretend you're not from there. Okay,
man, man.
so
Because if your wide receivers are Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, and Chris Moore, yeah, bro, y'all.
yeah,
Even Marvin
yeah,
Harrison Jr., bro, y'all
is
just
not going to save it. It's just a waste. It's a waste.
golly.
Just,
I pray to God, man. I really James Conner's okay at running. No, well, I mean he's okay.
he's
It,
okay.
this this is
Connor's
not
not.
enough. Desmond Ritter is going to end up getting the job because Kyler Murray is going to go down, and we know how Desmond plays. We thought he was going to take Atlanta to the playoffs,
It
but
did
apparently
nothing.
not. They had to get him out of there and bring in Kirk Cousins, who just sold up the NFC South. By the way, like that thing is done and done. Atlanta's winning that division wholeheartedly.
Probably.
I thought they was
Maybe.
going to win it last year,
I
but
still
by
like Tampa.
far now by far they have the best quarterback. They got the
Baker.
best skill positions.
I like Baker versus Kirkland.
You like
And
who? Baker?
Baker. Yeah.
Man, please. Baker's definitely second. But dude,
I
this
t-
is Kirko
Look,
Chains we talking about, man.
Kirk Chain's coming off for torn Achilles as an
Man.
old man. Look, that's
And they threw him the book because they was like, bro, we know you still gonna have it.
he
And
probably will. Like
we
he's
can
not a
keep you
running quarterback or nothing.
man. And they like we can keep you healthy down here in Atlanta. We can
Maybe.
keep you healthy.
Speaking of wild moves, we've been talking about running backs here, like Josh Jacobs and stuff. We got to talk about it. The probably one of the biggest ones besides Derrick Henry signing, Saquon Barkley. Let's talk about it. Saquon Barkley signs with the Philadelphia Eagles, stabbing the Giants fans right in the back. Right in the back. I mean, he doesn't care. He wants money and a chance to win. Good move, in my opinion.
I had to take a drink on that. This
I'll
thing
drink on it.
reminds me. It reminds me of a couple running back situations. Mainly though, it kind of gives me essence of Jamal Charles going to Denver. It's like you go to a semi competitor, but at the same time, probably all your best tread is behind you. Because Jamal Charles, he didn't waste his time here in Kansas City, but dude, they wasted so much of Jamal Charles's career, man. Just not having all the right pieces at once and stuff. And I feel like him going to the Eagles is just almost too late. It's like Marcus Allen when he came to the Chiefs. It's like uh where did that boy go? Dang, Ricky Williams after the
Mm,
Dolphins.
right.
You know what I mean? Like I just I hope the best for Saquon. I really do. You talk about, like I said, a dude who was on another kind of generational esque talent, dude, but so many years squandered, getting injured behind a team that was never gonna win nothing. It almost seems too late. But then again, he could still have a decent season. I think anything 700 yards on the season will be great for him as far as running the football. Maybe about 6, 7 touchdowns. And that's probably the limit. I mean, I don't know, man. That Philadelphia offense is already skeptical. Did they lose Brown, or is he still playing receiver there? Did he leave yet? Because
He's still there. He's still
they
there.
disgruntled at wide receiver. You just lost the best center in
Mm.
the NFL. Well, second best center in the NFL, only behind Creed Humphrey. Uh, I don't know, man. Philadelphia got too many questions for me, and then you know how I feel about them originally. I don't never feel like they got it, and I don't feel like Saquon going there will still make me be like, oh man, they got it now. Like I still feel the same. Like y'all still don't have it.
Right. Yeah, and I'm kind of right there with you. I feel like it's. I mean, if you're talking about a flat offense, this is a good addition, right? You're not
Right.
gonna. Any team's pretty much lucky to have Saquon Barkley. There's not a lot of running backs in the league that I'm really eyeing over him. You know what I mean? Maybe a handful of guys I'd probably consider. So I think this helps them, especially in that run game. You know, they lose DeAndre Swift, so you do have a hole at running back. And I like kind of Saquon Barkley style paired with the Eagles more than I liked like a DeAndre Swift in the first place. So even though they're kind of similar, but it's I just think Saquon Barkley's a more well-rounded running back, and it really shows why he got paid.
Oh well, yeah, for sure. No, he's definitely the better runner, especially if we're comparing the two. My only concern is health and Philadelphia's inability to keep people healthy as far as their program goes. Uh, and then just the style of play that they're gonna run. I mean, y'all can try to be run heavy at that point with play action, but my thing is Philadelphia is so figured out at this point. I don't even like. Oh God,
I
I don't
mean,
even
got a
think
lot of
they're a top
questions.
14, dude. Like
Well,
most
they
people
got a
will
lot of
say they
questions
are.
at offensive line too.
Man, and
Like,
like most
like
like they spent all their draft capital the last few years on the defensive line. The defensive line should be straight for the next 30 years almost. The way they've been doing it,
yeah,
like,
right.
but you haven't invested nothing on the offensive line, and really outside of Brown, nothing that wide receiver tight end situation. And Saquon's just not going to be enough. I got to see what else you do, but I don't even think they're a top four team in the NFC right now.
It's questionable. You know, like if we're talking about the first half of the year, Philadelphia Eagles, they're absolutely, without a question, a top four team. But the problem
In the
is if we
NFC
look at
though,
the, yeah, but the problem is if we look at the back half, there's no way you can call that a top four team. There's no way. We watched what they did at the end of the season, going on a terrible losing streak, and then like just absolutely blowing it in the playoffs. Like it was a
but
sad
see,
end of
yeah,
the year for the
but you
Philadelphia
know me,
Eagles.
I'm already totally indifferent, bro. I don't think they're a top four team already. I think Detroit's better. I honestly believe Green Bay is better. Um, I will go as far as to say that with the addition of Kirk Cousins, the Falcons are going to be better, the Rams are better, and the Niners. That's already
No,
five teams.
I'll take the Rams off, but I agree with the Niners. That's the
You
right
take the
list.
Rams off. Why would you do that?
I
Where
just
are they
don't.
slacking at?
Defensive tackle.
Okay, newly, yeah, okay, I can agree with that. But they can address that in the draft with bodies. You know what I'm saying?
Mobile,
You're never going to get another
man,
Aaron Donald, but you
no,
can get
no,
some
those are
bodies.
impossible shoes to fill. Like
Right.
you're
But
not, you're
okay,
not.
so okay, take the Rams off and put Dallas on. Like I said, either way, it's
Yeah,
still another team to
yeah,
slide into that spot, bro. And it's not
yeah.
Philadelphia.
And if we thought about it longer, we might think of another one or two. Like
That's what I'm
really,
saying. Like I'm pretty sure. Hey, I'm almost to go as far as saying who beat them. Your boy and the Buccaneers.
it's. I mean, it's a roll of the die. It's a game. It's. I'm not gonna say no, but I'm not gonna say yes. But I ain't saying no. Like
Right?
we, like I'm like, let's grab the quarter, flip the coin, find out what we're.
Yeah. Let's
That's
find out.
that's one of those. I'm not betting games. I'm just leaving that one alone.
Gotta leave
Too
it
close to
alone.
call.
And because
Yeah, and what is it?
I was almost bold enough to say Seattle, but I got to see what the product looks like coming out the gate and to maintain the
Yeah,
shit. Now, because if
yeah,
Seattle can maintain all year, no injuries to DK in it, bro, stop it. They're gonna be formidable, dude. Like I said, the Eagles just haven't done enough to me to stay at top of the NFC in general. Like I said,
yeah,
I believe Detroit and Green Bay thoroughly jumped them leaps and bounds. And like I said, even in the Kirk Cousins signing in Atlanta, I believe it's going to be so big for the NFC. You're going to see playoff Kirk Cousins, and he's probably going to win a couple games. This could be the season. Kirk, we our three-peat, the Atlanta Falcons versus the Kansas City Chiefs, man. And
Oof,
what a
I
game
like
that
that
would
one.
be. Because you know the connections between Kansas City and Atlanta. And you know, half of my family down in Atlanta. And that's just, yeah, it ain't circumstance, happenstance, just the way
Mm,
the dice fall or fell. You know what I mean? Strong connections
right.
between the cities. So many Kansas Cityans down there. So many Kansas City clubs and stuff. It's red everywhere. Now, I would take another all red Super Bowl. I would love it.
I'm not opposed. I like the challenge. All right,
But
let's get another bold prediction under the belt. We've got a free agent that we need to talk about. We're talking about improving one team. So let's say this guy might be able to improve another. Mr. Odell Beckham Jr. Where is he gonna play? Because I've got the Eagles as possibly being one of those places.
hopefully at home is where he's going to
Mm.
play.
No,
I,
he's got.
the,
I think he's got one or two left in him.
Dude, the Odell Beckham Jr. experiment has been over. I keep telling people that it's been over. It's over. It was over in New York. It was over. Like, we've got to. This is another what I'm saying. Like Saquon, do you know the Giants know how to kill talent unless you had Eli there, dude? It's over. He's beyond his prime. He had the last 3 years. He's been in the best opportunities to really make something in the name for himself. He got the ring with the Rams, but that was all Cooper
Right?
Cup and the
Really?
defense. Odell had his few moments and stuff, and then he got hurt. Didn't even finish the game. Like I said, we
Yeah.
talking about the most hurt wide receiver in history. Like, dude, no,
Well,
no.
no, I said Odell Beckham Jr. I Keenan Allen was traded.
No, no. Keenan Allen has been far more healthier than Odell Beckham and have
I
more
don't know,
1,000 yard
man.
seasons to prove it.
Probably. I
No,
mean, he
it
might
ain't
be
no
right there.
probably. I was like,
Yeah.
cause you gotta remember, first 6 years of Keenan Allen, bro, he was a baby gazelles. What I used to hate playing Keenan Allen, dude, cause he would
Yeah.
always get off. Now sometimes they wouldn't beat us, but he was the Bronco killer. That's the only time I really loved to watch him play when he was playing the Broncos. He's always going for 200 on them bombs. But Keelan, bro, I'm glad he's up out of there, honestly. So we ain't got to
Right.
see him no more. And then, and then the Chargers keep falling into obscurity.
Yeah, and that's a strong point because Odell Beckham views himself as a very high value wide receiver. And I do question how many teams would be willing to pay him $12 million, $10 million.
Have you seen?
You know,
Have you read? There was this book that was turned into a movie. It was called The Odyssey, and
mm,
there was this part in the movie where Odysseus came upon this island with this giant, and giant. He had one eye, Cyclops. They get him drunk and stuff like that. They trying to escape the island, but when he asks Odysseus, "What's his name?" he says, "Nobody." And
mm,
that's the answer to your question. Who's gonna pay him? Nobody.
yeah,
Nobody. Carolina.
yeah. That is the one
Carolina.
place
Tampa
that
Bay. Maybe. No, they just re-signed Mike
part.
Evans. Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina. I like that.
Carolina.
Carolina's a strong
Arizona.
pick. I feel like he wants to go to a playoff contention
He
team,
want
though.
to come to Kansas City, but he know he ain't gonna get no
Mm,
check.
yeah, the problem here is Kansas City, for one, would have to trade Snead to get any kind of deal done. And to be honest with you,
I don't want to.
uh, for me to want, I would take Odell Beckham Jr. on the Chiefs.
For
My
what?
problem is I'd want it to be at that 5 million sub range. You know, like I'll respect him where he's not getting a vet minimum, but I just like 4 or 5 million.
No,
Like,
no. I can count about four receivers that we keep on the roster that never even play. You want him to be the fifth?
mm. Yeah, right. Well,
like we got guys that don't even play, and we're gonna bring Odell? No,
well, and the problem
because
with
if you
bringing
couldn't win
Odell
with
is
no,
it
no,
does
but
it
go
does
ahead. I'm
force
sorry.
your hand. You're right though. The problem with Odell is it does force your hand with Kadarius Tony or Sky Moore, and they're not getting
Or
rid of either
Justin
one of them.
Ross, any of them
Or Justin
dudes.
Ross, yeah. And to be
And the
honest,
dude you keep, the dude you let, the perennial practice team member at this point, Cornell Powell, the other dude that you drafted in the second round because you thought he was the next wide receiver, don't even play. Like I
mm,
said, dude, if he couldn't get it done with Big Trust and Zay Flowers and them up there in Baltimore, he ain't got no shot nowhere else unless it's Carolina. Dude,
yeah,
I can't see nobody else paying me.
yeah,
You
I
know
liked him
what?
as like a number three, number four option. But you're right. It's going to be something like a Carolina. I
I
could
was just
see
about to
this.
say, or the Commanders.
The Commanders
It
could
had to
do it.
be something like that.
I don't think the Jets would do it. You know, they just picked up Mike
Mike
Williams,
Williams.
right?
That's
Which was, makes plenty of
huge. Dude, the
sense.
dude that I wanted. Like,
Yeah,
that's
I would have
huge.
took Mike Williams. Yeah,
Dude.
absolutely solid choice. And then you start looking around the league. Maybe the Giants. I'm not sure if the Giants even have
They
any
don't
money
want a
though.
reunion. Never,
You
they
know,
don't want to.
yeah,
Because they still
yeah,
got that one rookie wide receiver who could still turn out to be something.
you're
But
right.
once they get some stability, and I'm pretty sure knowing the Giants, they'll take another one this year because that's just what the Giants do. And what they're at number six. Yeah, because who's
Yeah,
the quarterback now? They brought in what's call it to replace Vanilla Vic. Well, Vanilla Vic's still on the roster. Who's starting now? Is it
I'm sure Vic
let me
is
see.
still the starter. I didn't see who they brought in. Uh,
Who
Let me
was it?
see.
It was, and they talking about they might draft JJ McCarthy.
Yeah. So it's another team that I hadn't thought about. What about the Packers? The Packers could be looking to add Odell Beckham Jr.
Eh, not with Watson. No, they got pretty good skill receivers. Christian
Yeah,
Watson and them. Yeah, he'd be a distraction.
yeah,
At
and
the
you do got to
at
worry
the
about
most,
that.
and you done just proved that you done just shown the whole city we don't need Aaron Rodgers. You don't bring in
Arizona,
another distraction.
Arizona, you get
That's
to
what I
have
said.
a yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
like
what I said.
Arizona. That's
Washington, Arizona. Panthers.
Carolina. Yeah, that's
Right.
folks. That will be our top three places that we predict Odell Beckham Jr. to go. Is
Man.
going to be those three teams. I feel very strongly on that.
I do too, because like I said, what else are they going to there's nowhere else for him to go. They brought in Drew Lock. That's who the Giants got. That's who they brought in.
Yeah, and
It
that's
might be
not.
his time. But like, shoot, dude, I would take Drew Lock as a backup. He's not a bad quarterback. He's really
Yeah,
not. He just like I said, bro, they get into these situations where if you just don't do what they want you to do right then and there, then you out of there. Like, and that's the nature of the beast. But at the same time, it shows why he keep getting jobs.
yeah,
And
yeah.
there ain't no doubt in my mind if Vanilla Vic ain't either ready to go because he's still coming off that ACL. And there ain't no doubt in my mind they're gonna start Drew Lock, especially over the Danny DeVito dude they was obsessed with for that little bit last year.
The Italian
It's a wrap
stallion
on
guy.
that. Yeah, it's a wrap on that.
Uh,
Baba Goo. He's gonna end up with Ugats. Nothing. Like the Italians say, with Ugats. You're getting nothing but some super de muscles.
not right.
You gonna look for dinner, man. It's over. Uh, but yeah, dude, I'm loving free agency, and let's talk about it because we ain't talked about the champions in the room. We've taken a few
Mm,
hits in free agency, but at the same time, as it stands right now, we picked up a receiver who can actually catch and can remain a vertical threat. And remember, we had talked about it a few years ago before the draft that we should have tried to get Hollywood Brown
yeah,
because
he was.
he fit the mold.
Yeah, and I like his potential. He very well could return to that 1,000 yard status, even though I would expect him to be closer to that 750 range
I
as the
think
number three guy. But
I really think we're gonna have 2,000 yard receivers because Rasheed Rice was pretty much a 1,000 yard receiver this year. He finished almost with 1,000. And like I said, that's just
right,
coming off the first few games of them not even playing him and all that other stuff. He's a 1,000 yard receiver, boom bam. I really want him to be our number one receiver. He better be at this
oh
point.
yeah, yeah, I
And
think he's
then
kind of earned that title, really.
yeah. Well, between him and Watson, I know people still kind of hate on Watson, and I don't know why, but dude, Justin Watson is an incredible wide receiver for us, and he really don't do nothing but get the job done.
Yeah. Oh, he's the most hated productive wide receiver I've ever seen for the
Man,
Kansas
ain't it
City Chiefs.
crazy? Ain't it
Bro,
crazy?
you would think that like the problem is he's really that benchmark, right? We know that Watson should not be on the team. But if you can't perform better than Watson, what do you why are
He's the only vertical threat we had last year.
man,
He caught
man,
the most deep pass. Hell, even in the playoff game. It was like,
the
like the only other deep
I
pass that was even thrown in the playoff stretch that was caught by anybody else was in the Super Bowl to McCole Hardman, and then Isaiah Pacheco fumbled on the very next play, so it don't even really matter.
Yeah, yeah, I think he's a very underrated number four wide receiver. Like he is that
I
guy.
think he
Like,
got number three all over him. I think Hollywood Brown be our second receiver now, and Justin Watson got to be the third. He's got to be another vertical stretch because
well, what
that's
I'm
what he
hoping
do.
for, I think they're going to throw another dart at the board at wide receiver.
Oh yeah.
Like in the draft. Oh, absolutely. They know they swung and missed on Sky Moore. They want. I think
I
they
hope
know
they
they need
do
to
know it
keep.
because we've been
Well, the
saying that
problem
fucking
is
project's been over.
the problem is we know that the tight end that we're not talking about, Travis Kelsey, is as productive as the number one wide receiver. And we know we're not going to have that forever. So in the next 3 years, we have to be in the position where we have two legitimate wide receivers.
Right.
Because the likelihood of finding another tight end anywhere remotely close to that is unlikely, in my opinion. Even though, I mean, Kansas City, we do just poop out tight ends. This is what we are known to do.
Yeah, I feel more confident in that statement than any other one because we do keep a good tight end. My only thing is, if we do throw the dart at receiver, if it ain't the boy from Texas who will probably be gone just because of the 40 time alone, I
Right.
mean, who's left? I mean, I'd want a big guy. We got to get a dude like Keon Coleman from Florida or something. We need a
Yeah.
6'4", 6'5". Like we need Mike Williams, Lord, but since we can't
Right.
have him, listen, we need something like that. Like I don't see how every team don't look at DK Metcalf and these dudes, or even look back and see Megatron and do like, bro, you need a 6'6" dude who can run at least a 4.5 and can snatch on the room.
Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah.
have one. We ain't
Yeah.
tried it since Jonathan Baldwin, and that makes me so mad.
Yeah. Well, the problem is we've used Travis Kelsey as that guy, and that's really is what it's been. And that's the problem with Rice is, he's mostly played out of the slot. So even though I think you can move him outside with no problem. Like I don't
Yeah,
think it's a stretch to imagine Rice moving to the outside and being effective.
right.
But if you could keep him in the slot, if you did find
Man,
someone you could put him on the outside with him.
that's what I'm saying. You Hollywood vertical stretch, Rice in a slot, and you go ahead and get my soul want Marvin Harrison Jr., but it won't
And
have.
no,
But if you
we, we-
anything like that's what we need to put a trade package together for. Give the board. What do we need to
yeah,
give? What do we need to give? Who's number two? What do we? Well, no, they need a quarterback. I was just gonna say, what do we need to give so we can get what does Arizona want to where they can trade us that fourth pick so we can get Marvin Harrison Jr. Like
they, they'd want the world.
we'll give you
It-
Steve. We'll give you our first round picks for the next 2 years, and we'll give you. Well, no, they ain't gonna be worth so much. We're gonna win the Super Bowl. They ain't gonna want that. Oh
Yeah,
God,
it's
it's so
very low
hard.
value.
It
That's
makes
the
it so
problem.
hard, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because they're like, what? You're giving us a couple second rounders and a third? Is what you're about
man,
to tell me in a Snead? Like, come on,
man.
man. Like, that's all these technically first round picks. That's what you're giving me.
Technically,
Technically,
so you're gonna give
like,
me either the 31st or 32nd pick in the first round. I mean,
right?
which is still good though. You getting the 31st best player in
Hey,
the
you still get
draft.
that fifth year option,
Man, that's
like.
what I'm saying. A bargaining chip, nonetheless. At the very least, you have
There
traded
is
me.
there is value to that. That is the whole reason the Ravens drafted Lamar Jackson was because they knew if they moved up to in the first round, got him at pick number 32, that they gives us the fifth year option. If this
Man,
quarterback works out, it's worth moving up just for the option. And sure enough,
man,
it doesn't always work out. There's failures. You could be the Broncos. They trade for players all the time.
man. You could
Like,
be the Browns. We've seen it plenty of time. You could be a commander, redskin, whichever iteration you want.
oh, speaking of the Browns and the Broncos, we need to talk about Jerry Judy getting traded for nothing and then paid. Mm. If there's
This
any
one
hope in the
thing that
world,
Cleveland. Oh, go ahead. You go ahead.
yeah, I'll make this real quick. If there's any hope in the world of me ever getting paid, it's watching guys like Jared Judy getting paid and going, you know what? I could probably do something too. I could probably do something to get paid because he out here getting the bag for no reason.
And this just goes to show that the Browns do not know how to do business. They will take anybody for the hopes of man. It looks great on paper. This is probably like the fourth or fifth time they look so good on paper, but in reality, we all know Jerry Judy is trash. You
Yeah,
just overpaid him. You already are stuck in the worst quarterback situation since Russell Wilson, and that happened at the same fucking time. You don't have any other skill players. You're trying to get. I think they got Deontay Foreman from the Bears, but dude, that's not gonna make a difference. You don't you still
no.
got Chubb and Kareem Hunt? How many running backs you need? What's
No, I
going
think
on with
Kareem
that?
Hunt is a free agent, actually.
It's
He
time to
is
bring
set
him on home, man. We got to call Clark Hunt and say, hey, boy, we got to bury the hatchet, man. You got to bring
something.
Kareem on home. That we can get Kareem back. and he can get right back with Pat and how they was doing, it's over, man. You seen he's the best in the league when he's with Andy Reid.
Yeah, and it's wild to see. It's just I've got a lot of faith in Hunt to be a better guy in life. I just wish him the best. Give him a shout
For
out.
sure. I mean, well, if Joe Flacco could keep getting fucking jobs, now I guess two different things, man. It's two
Man,
different things.
he got himself another fucking job. Another job. Can you
Ain't
believe
he in
that?
Indianapolis now?
Yeah, yeah. And I like that move for Indy. That's a
I do
solid
too.
backup,
Yeah, that's all back. Richardson can learn from a champion, something he couldn't do
right?
before, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
keep balling.
yeah.
Big
I like
flag.
that.
He said, "Pass me the check, sir." But yeah, so that's pretty much it on the side of Chiefs free agency. Not too many splashes. We got Hollywood Brown. They paid Chris Jones. They trying to snake seat Sneed. We'll see what happens on that.
Oh,
Uh,
before we go, I did want to make fun of the Las Vegas Raiders. They signed Gardner Minshew. They're playing to beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
with
Relies
Uncle
on
Rico.
Uncle Rico. Mm. You want
How
to talk
much you
about
want to bet
dreaming?
it's first day at training camp. He gonna how much you want to bet I can throw a football over one of them mountains?
Mm. They're gonna be like Gardner, Rico. We're indoors. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
He don't even know where he at.
Like,
They'll tell him, look,
goddamn.
look, man, this is secret. This is Arrowhead West West. So
Yeah.
we're just visiting in this building. When Pat shows up, be on your best behavior.
And speaking
Oh,
of backup level quarterbacks, a low key move that I thought was interesting is Tyrod Taylor,
mm.
the old man, Mister Almost. I can't believe you're in the league, has signed with the New York Jets, and I like that as a backup spot for Aaron Rodgers, and gives you a possibility of even playing.
And my backup move that I think is going to end up might turn it into a full time job. We might finally see the pumpkin since we saw the Super Bowl, Josh Dobbs in 49er land.
Yeah, that was an interesting one.
That's what I'm saying, man.
I'm not a Dobbs fan. He ruined it. Yeah, he got me so hyped up every time he starts. The first time he plays for him will be an amazing game.
It'll be spectacular. And
And
now if they
then
just keep letting them keep going, it'll be perfect.
he doesn't keep going. That's his problem. He does. He's one of those blows you load all in one game, and you're just like you just got to do it again, man. Just do it again. I
Well,
don't
we're
know what
gonna see, man,
I
because
don't know what the
I'm
fuck's
sure
wrong
a
with
lot
you.
of. No, go ahead. What you saying?
No, I was just running with that. You're good,
Oh, I was just about to say because I'm sure a lot of people woke up in 49er land with questions. So we're gonna see. They're
man.
like, should we have not got rid of Trey Lance? What is happening here? Is this really the
And
guy?
and
Like, so we are.
I guess that's the question we should leave them, leave on for today is, in the comments, if you're the 49ers, do you think you possibly win that Super Bowl if you would have got Tom Brady instead of the old Purdy, old Brock Purdy?
Oh,
Leave your
dirty
comments in
Purdy.
the old nerdy Purdy. Let us know if you think Brady, because that's it was an overtime game. It was close. Maybe Brady would have been the difference maker.
Man. Well, folks, you ponder on that. Y'all think about it. I'm sure about it. Like I said, the pumpkin had to show his face at one point in time, and he just waited for the Super Bowl. But shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs, the champions as tradition. Shout out to NFL free agency. And next week we got the start of UFL, the XFL. We'll be with you live for that.
Bold predictions. Check us out.
Blah.